Hi, everyone. I'm Nikki, and I'm here with Flossie, and this is our podcast, The Assumption Effect. Today's topic, we're going to discuss money desires and, different variations of money, finances, jobs, careers, and different things that people want to manifest, why they have those desires. So I first want to start by saying, I see a big thing online. Like I always see hate when it comes to manifestors in general. Like if you're a manifestor, why aren't you a multimillionaire? Why haven't you won the lottery? Why don't you have a mansion or something like that? And not just to coaches, I mean to like anybody in the manifestation community. So go ahead, Flossie.
I was just gonna say, I see the same thing too, like people dropping hate sometimes on somebody for manifesting something that they want, because that person doesn't see it as a big item. And, we just have to kind of remember that everybody has their own desires. Not everybody desires the same thing.
Right. Like I see people, I'll get clients sometimes and they'll say, I want to win the lottery or I want to be a multi-billionaire. I want to travel across the world. I want a mansion. I want a yacht. I want all these things. And for me personally, that's great. I can help them achieve that mindset so that they can persist in that. However, for me personally, and Flossie will speak on her personal beliefs about this, but for me personally, I do desire to have money, but I'm not the type of person that can just do nothing. Like I've always been an entrepreneur, I've always been a business owner. That's what drives me. So the way I manifest money is through business because to me it's like a game. That's what's fun to me. So like when I desire money, of course I persist for money. Of course, I think everybody does, but it's not, I don't want a mansion. I don't want a yacht. That sounds like a lot of work to me. And, call it a limiting belief or whatever, but it's not. It's a desire. My desire is just to be comfortable, to travel when I want, where I want. I don't care about fancy handbags that cost $5,000. I don't care about, fancy clothes or going to the salon every week. That's just not my desire. My desire is different than other people. You'll see the stack of Legos if you're watching on a video behind me. I build Legos for fun. Do you think I go to the nail salon every week? No, I don't, because I'm a nerd. So that being said, my desire is to make enough money to afford my Lego habit. Okay. Like I don't care about anything else. As long as I can, buy the food I want, experience the experiences I want. To have $1 million would be cool, but the first thing I do with it is I would probably spend it on a business. I would invest in another business, something else for me to hustle with, because that's what I do with money, and I make more money by doing that. My desire is never to win the lottery would be awesome, but I'm not going to do the same things with that money that other people would do.
I agree. I think that it's just got to keep in mind that, you have to have the desire. You have to want that in order, for it to come forth in the 3D reality as far as to create the dominant thought for it. And of course, I know that sometimes we do manifest things that are not preferred because our dominant thought on that topic is so strong about those things. But not everybody desires to have that mansion or be a multi-millionaire. Some people like simplicity and want their life to look or be a certain way. Some people enjoy their careers or want to have some sort of fulfillment for something. Not everybody wants to be a philanthropist or a Jeff Bezos. Not everybody wants to be that. I most certainly don't. But at the same time, you got to keep in mind that focus on you. Stay in your own lane. Worry about your own manifestations. Don't get too hyper focused on, well, this person over here, they're talking about their success story, but they only manifested quote unquote $10,000. Maybe $10,000 that person is a lot of money. Maybe they live somewhere that's an outrageously insane amount of money to them. You don't know what their money mindset is or was in the first place. I like the house I have, and sometimes I've gotten, I think Nikki's experience too, where he gotten feedback saying, well, how come you're not living in $1 million house? Maybe I don't want to live in $1 million house. Maybe that's not my current desire. Maybe I'm happy living in a house that's, almost 600,000 or half million or whatever versus a $2 million house. But um, everybody just has different desires. And so worry about your own desires and got to keep in mind that it takes some time for a person to change their mindset. Not everybody comes into the manifestation community with a great money mindset. Some people's money mindset is terrible, sucks. They're always thinking negative thoughts about money. And so the other thing that we see about money is why is it taking this person so long? Or why are they working on this manifestation and it seems like forever? Well, you don't know what their mental diet's like. You don't know what they started with, what they began the game with. You know, I do the oil and the water in a cup analogy, and Nikki and I did a video about that a long time ago, showing it as a science experiment. And, you know, hey, if you've got a bunch of oil in your cup, which represents the number of negative ass, nasty ass thoughts that you thought to get into the boat that you're in, and you're starting to work on affirming and persisting, but you're not really persisting. You're continuing to think negative thoughts. You're continuing to worry about money. You're continuing to tell yourself that you can't afford X, Y, Z. You're not thinking as if you have money. You're not really affirming or doing your routine. Guess what? You're probably not going to get very far on that manifestation very quickly
Right, right.
because you're not keeping the mental diet for it.
And you know, it reminds me of something because, like, if you ask somebody that's not awake, like, let's just pretend you're talking to your regular friends who don't know anything about manifesting, and I had this conversation and it totally just sparked this memory in me. My ex-boyfriend and I were talking about, like, we bought some lottery tickets and we're talking about what would happen if we won the lottery. And you know what his desire was? And it was so foreign to me and so stupid. Now he's a backwoods country boy, you know, I was into the rough-ins back in the day, but he's like, I'll get a trailer on like 60 acres and get some chickens and cows. And I'm thinking, damn, that's like the total opposite of anybody else you would hear. You know, he's wanting this lifted truck, like a tractor. He wants to build like cabins, hunting blinds. I'm like, dang. But like, you know, when I talk to my clients, they're like, oh, well, I want a yacht and, you know, a 10-bedroom house with 2 swimming pools and a lazy river. And I'm just like, you know, and even to me, that's far fetched. I'm just like, dude, if I want that, I'll go to Raging Rivers. Like, I will go to the damn water park. Like, I don't want to take care of that. And I understand if I have the money, like maybe that's a limit, but it's never been my desire. But if I had the money, I understand you can hire people to take care of that. But it's just not me, you know? So you gotta remember that people's personality and their lifestyle and who they are at their core is vastly different. You know, you have your friend groups, your family units, and things like that, and you all kind of are in the same boat most of the time. So when you talk to people outside and join the manifestation community, you're experiencing several different behaviors, personalities, cultures, all kinds of things. And everybody just has a different desire. And I know people that would much rather have love than money. They would live in a cardboard box with their SP over manifesting money if they had to choose. You know, so the desires that people have are completely different, completely vast. And, you know, for people to judge one another is one thing. But you, like Flossie said, you really have to stay in your own lane. You really need to understand that your desire is yours. What you want is yours. Not everybody wants the same thing, and it's not your place to decide if that person wants the same thing as you. You know what? Because you're probably not manifesting that person. You're probably not taking away their free will and saying, hey, you know what? You're going to like everything I like. You know, that's silly. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I just look at it from the perspective of, in my reality, I'm just going to affirm and persist for what I want, and my 3D reality is going to conform to that. And, you know, that's just how it is.
Right. I mean, desires are just going to be unique to the person. And, you know, you got to find your tribe, got to persist for what you want, get clear in your desires, and keep going. And that's really what it's all about. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. So,
That's also what I think. I mean, hey, if you want to be the multimillionaire with the or $500 million yacht, you can go right ahead and manifest that. I have no interest in that whatsoever. None. Zero.
right. I'm going to just buy more Legos. So, and Flossie's going to go to Disney World a couple more times.
Well, Disneyland, but I do want to go to
Yes.
Disneyland in Paris again. I like to travel, and so that's where, you know, a lot of my money goes. If I'm able to do the traveling I want, I'm happy about it.
So, what would you do? I want to know. What would you do if, I mean, I know it's not a desire to be a multimillionaire, but if it just fell in your lap, what would you do with it?
Well, I know that I'm going to end up being a multimillionaire through one avenue or another because that's just, I know that those are just facts, especially with some of the information I know. But having said that, you know, I think for me, I probably would after I took care of some things I'd want to take care of. I mean, I think in general, I like a lot of people where I would just want to make sure I really didn't have any debt or I wasn't leaving any debt to my children. And I would set up some trust funds for my children depending on how much money I got. And I would probably have a vacation home and then I would travel. I probably would just spend time in between a main house and a travel house, but I probably would just spend time traveling.
Right. But your houses, that would just be like,
Yeah, I mean it just would probably be something reasonable. I mean, there's a couple places that I really like, and I probably would consider choosing one of those to either have, some sort of condo or home. It just would depend on, at the end of the day, how much money I had and how much upkeep I wanted.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, I've owned multiple businesses in my lifetime, and my last business we actually sold and saw $1 million in our bank. But could I consider myself a millionaire? No, my net worth could be up there, but my cash value probably is not, and that's not something I really hyper focus on. However, if let's just say I didn't have a business partner, I sold that restaurant and had 5 million cash in my pocket, I would probably just pay off the house I currently live in and do some upgrades to it. I mean, the house is great as it is. I'd probably just add a hot tub, which I'm going to do next year anyway. Maybe redo my kitchen. But those aren't things I really desire right now. But like in the future, it might be something I want to do. Probably travel. But here's my thing. I want. You guys remember? Do you remember Wild Thornberries? You ever remember that seeing that show around? It was like the
Yeah,
family, they traveled in the RV everywhere and like go on safari. That's what I wanted. I want an RV. Like I like comfort. So like I hate being on airplanes because they're not comfortable. Although I did see a new airplane that has like these little suites that look really awesome. Um,
yeah, I've seen those. I want to do that one day.
we should. We'll go together to Disneyland Paris. That's where we're going. On the bougie airplane. But like when I travel, I want to stay in nice places. I want to stay in a nice hotel. I'm not going to Motel 6. That's not the desire. So of course I'm going to travel. I'm going to stay in nice places. But most of my money is going to go back in my business into an RV so I can, road trip because that's my thing. That's what I would love to do. Of course, go overseas and the whole thing with my kids, set up my kids with trust funds and things like that. But mainly, it's just going to be to live comfortably.
Well, I've got people in my 3D reality that like to travel. Like my kids like to travel. They like to do fun stuff. My mom and stepdad like to travel, and so, I probably would just do more traveling that I already do. I mean, comparatively speaking, I do a pretty fair amount of traveling. I mean, just in the last just over, I think, 5-ish years or so, like I've been to Europe twice and I go to Southern California so much. I actually am having to take a break from there. I think in 1 year alone, like a year or two ago, I went there like 3 times in a year, in
Yeah.
just 1 year,
Uh-huh.
for like a week or two at a time.
Time to come back to see me.
Well, true. I haven't been out that way for a hot minute. Um, but that's when I would need the bougie plane ride because that plane ride over there.
It's a long ride, yeah.
But
But
I'd like to do some more of that type of stuff. And I mean, I've got some of those plans in my future. I mean, it was interesting, manifestation's always perfect. And I was thinking that I'd like for my mom and stepdad to do another trip because I'd like to travel with them again over there. But, the last time that I had gone with them was going to be their quote unquote last trip period. Like they said that they weren't going to do it again. Well, guess what? They're already talking about going again. And they already know that I'm already going to want to go. So guess what? I'm going to
wait, where are
work
you going?
on do what?
Where are you going?
They're going to go back to Europe.
Oh, nice.
They're going to have another vacation back to Europe. And so my mom's already told my stepdad that of course I'm going to want to go. And then my children were like, we want to go. So we're just going to I'm sure that'll come to fruition at some point. Somebody will probably hear about me going back over there for just a few minutes.
And I do want to add, money's not the be all end all to having desires either, because
Mhm.
I will tell you, because we didn't touch base on jobs. Like some people have a certain career. Some people want to be a doctor. They want to help people. Some people do want to be a life coach or therapist or whatever have you. They want to be an environmentalist or a vet because that's their desire, right? Everybody's got a different one. And the thing is, manifestation's perfect. And I want to use an example of Flossie's that I think she forgot about. Um, Flossie did fly here to see me, and like she didn't need to have money to spend money to fly first class. She got upgraded to first class because she said she was going to. And that's exactly what happened. So it's not that you always need money to live the lifestyle and have the things that you want, because you can literally just manifest it. If you want a certain thing, you can have it.
Well, exactly. I mean, we both have manifested some pretty cool things. And when I took my kids over to Europe, I mean, we had what most people would consider a vacation of a lifetime. And I think that some people would argue that the money that was spent on that was the equivalent of like what some people make in a year.
Yeah.
But that it was something that didn't end up costing me a ton of money at the end of the day, or at least not my own money.
Right. Yeah, I think I've had, for me personally, I'll go to the thing I want. Like, I'm so happy my kitchen got remodeled, or I'm so happy I got a free hot tub, or I'm so happy I got a brand new hot tub installed, things like that. And it's just gonna unfold. It doesn't mean I have to spend money to get it. It doesn't mean I have to go to the bank and open up a loan or anything like that. It'll just, maybe I win a contest, maybe something happens. We don't control the 3D, but those things happen to us all the time. Winning contest or having, I haven't won a contest in a while, but I also haven't persisted for anything like material, I guess, in a little bit. But you can manifest those material items and those things in your 3D and those vacations and those things, and you actually don't have to persist for the money to do it. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, because they're like, oh, I want to have this lifestyle. They manifest the damn lifestyle, and everything else will fall into place. You don't have to say, I'm going to win the lottery. There's so many different ways it can unfold.
Exactly. And you can have the lifestyle that you want, just like Nikki said, by affirming for those things and not necessarily worrying about the money. I'll have a lot of clients that like they're manifesting a car, they're manifesting a house, or maybe they're manifesting something they consider to be luxurious, and they are thinking that they have to specifically affirm for the money. And it's like, no, affirm for that you own a house or that you're owning XYZ car. You don't have to worry about how that is going to come to fruition. Something's going to move for in order for it to manifest. It might be that you get a bunch of money falling in your lap. It might be that you win a contest for a car, or the casinos often have contests. Like it could be all sorts of ways. Someone could gift that shit to you.
Right. Right. Well, guys, that concludes our discussion about money. We could probably go on and on and on about it, but we will see you on the next episode.
Have fun. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.